this is my wife, Kyla.
Hi, guys.
She's pretty awesome. Hey, I have a couple questions we'd love to ask you.
Okay.
The first question is, what makes Rob such a good husband?
Oh, my
Wait,
gosh.
how'd that get in here? I didn't write this.
Yeah.
But it is here, so you should probably answer. Maybe.
I'll
No, I'm just
answer
kidding.
it.
No, I'm joking.
He is a really good husband.
You didn't have to say that. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, Kyla, we've been married for 6 years now. Mm-hmm. Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. It's been good for you?
It's been amazing.
Okay, good. Good. Just wanted to check. This would be a great time. It'd be a weird time to find out it wasn't.
It's been great.
Okay, good. But, one thing, we talk about sharing our faith a lot with, both you and I have people in our lives that we love who don't know Christ or they've fallen away from Christ.
Yeah.
And we talk about story, and we love to celebrate what God has done. And, I remember when I first met you and got to hear your story, I was just so struck with how good God was and how what he's done in your life. So would you mind just telling people, like, where you from, where you grew up, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I'm from Indiana. I grew up in Indiana my whole life in a small town called Greenfield. So it's kind of like a farm town. Grew up, I have 2 sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So you're a big Colts fan.
Patriots.
Big Colts fan.
I'm a big Colts fan. I don't know anything about the Colts, but I love to just support the Colts. So my big joke is anytime there's any blue team, I'm just like, yes, let's go Colts.
That's right.
Just to kind of annoy him a little bit.
Guys, Kansas City didn't win the Super Bowl, and I'm wearing this every day this week.
And he's not joking.
This is my 3rd day in a row of wearing this,
It's
and
weird.
I'm feeling very excited about it.
I tried to talk him out of it, but.
Kyla, tell us about what, church spirituality, was like for you growing up.
Yeah, so I grew up as, a Christian. If anyone ever asked me, I think from the time I was really little all the way up, I don't think there was ever a time in my life where I didn't say that I was a Christian. It was always a thing that I was. And so growing up, my mom was kind of the spiritual leader in our household. She kind of led the way with that stuff. And so, it was an ongoing conversation. She talked to us all the time about God and who Jesus was. I knew that I wanted to be a Christian. We went to church, but we were kind of like a dip in and out type of family. So we'd be really going on Sundays, and then we'd kind of turn into the Christmas and Easter family. But I remember the main things I remember about church, which sounds really horrible, is I was super bored and I wanted it to be over fast. And it wasn't really meaningful. So I remember feeling gosh, I feel like this should as I got older, I feel like this should just feel different, or that I should have more security in this, and that it's I'm a Christian, but it wasn't really impacting, any areas of my life. So, and I don't want to discredit, my parents are amazing. All my family's saved now, and loves the Lord. And so I'm super thankful for them. But I do feel like church and kind of our involvement in the faith background was very much okay, we did it. We went, cool, I'm a Christian. And, especially I think too, growing up in a small town, everyone I knew was Christian too. And so it just kind of was a cultural, oh, I'm a Christian too. You believe in God too? Yeah. Oh, cool. So I think that's kind of what it was. And even as I got into, high school, it was something that I always claimed and I was proud of, but it didn't impact my day to day. So
how would you describe your spiritual state going into college? You went to IU. So
I did. Go Hoosiers. Yeah.
What was your spiritual state going into college?
My spiritual state. I think going into college, my focus was so not on that. My spiritual mentality at that point was okay, yes, I love God because I want to go to heaven. Honestly, that was I want the salvation part of that, but then I want to do my own thing. I want to live how I want. I want to have the typical college experience, and I want to, make whatever choices I want to make. But I also want to be saved because I want to go to heaven. So that's kind of how that started.
So when you got to college, because one thing that is so unique about young adulthood is so if you're entering in college, or you're just you're graduating, entering the workforce, and you're just kind of living your this 20s, early 30s life, it's a lot of you're making the decision for your own. If you grew up in a Christian household, you grew up or whatever, it's kind of a lot of times it's your parents' faith And it's in, like, when you kind of go out on your own, you become like, okay, do I really believe this? Do I really want to live like this? And for you, what did that look like for you as you like started your college experience?
Yeah, so for me, I mean, going to like a Big Ten school, I knew when I went, like my primary goal was to like just have fun. And so I think like even going in, I think there's for a lot of people, at least for me and my friends, like the mentality was, if you want the true college experience, then you need to be going to parties, you need to be drinking, you need to be doing these things because this is only going to happen one time. And so that's what I based everything around. You know, I really quickly, like, the party scene is really fun at the beginning. You feel really cool because people pay attention to you. So people are noticing you. You know, you can go out and you can get noticed by people. You're drinking with your friends. So, I mean, my freshman year, sophomore year, that's pretty much what my college experience revolved around, was just partying. And it was awesome for a while. Like, it really, like,
Don't say that in front of these people right
No.
now. What are we doing?
No. But the thing about it is, it was really awesome, but it's not awesome when you wake up and you're hungover and you have shame about what you did the night before. And so, yeah, it's awesome in that moment, but it was like every day, okay, we're going to do it again. And again, you get that like slight moment of like, this is so great, but it's so fleeting. And so, yeah, my college experience quickly turned into just a lot of things that left me feeling really empty. And so I was constantly searching. It's like each day, each weekend is like a new search of, is this going to fill me? Is this going to make me feel like good? Is this going to give me purpose? Are these people going to bring me life? And I feel like the deeper and deeper I got into that, just the more depleted and worn out and like shameful I felt in that season. And so that's when I hit this point of like, what is happening?
So what did that leave you feeling? Like when you felt like this, what is happening?
I mean, I think like, I think it just left me wanting something that was gonna actually bring me like true joy. And so, I just felt really alone in that season of life. And also too, I want to just say, cause I don't know who's going to see this, I had some really great friends, in college, and even friends who, you know, weren't saved and aren't saved to this day, that still loved me really well. And so it's not like I had this horrible traumatic experience, but you know, that low point of feeling so alone and just lost, is where I feel like I had to be for God to be like, here I am, you know, this is like, I'm going to change your life. But I feel like I reached that point where I was so sick of doing the same thing and then feeling bad about it and then being like, let's do the same thing again. And then it's just this ongoing process. And so, yeah, it's just exhausting. And so can I go into my next?
Yeah, so like when we talk about the structure of a story, like before, the how, and after, what are the motivations that led you to begin a true relationship with Jesus?
Yeah, so funny enough, one of my best friends at that time, who also was like a cultural Christian kind of, she reached out to me. It was my sophomore year of college. I'd just gone through Rush. I joined a sorority. I was going to move in the next year to the house, and so sororities are really big at IU, and so I was super pumped. FIMU, got into a house, and then she called me. She's like, hey, I got a job working at a summer camp as a Christian camp counselor, and I think you should do it. And I honestly remember just laughing and being like, okay, like I think that could be fun, but also I cannot be a camp counselor right now in my current state. And so anyways, lo and behold, they set up an interview. I interviewed, lied my way through the whole thing. I remember them being like, now, you're not 21 yet. We do want to let you know that, you know, because you're under 21, we do have a strict, and even for our people who are 21, we have a strict, like, no drinking policy. And I'm like, absolutely. Yes, for sure. And so I remember, I know it's horrible. I don't know how I got the job, but I got the job. Felt like a total fraud, showed up, and that was the summer after my sophomore year of college. And that was the first time that I was like immersed with a bunch of people that were my age who loved the Lord. And part of our process that week was that we had to share our testimony. And I remember panicking and being like, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? Because everyone's like, I used to be, this is this structure here, this is my before, here's my how it happened, here's my after. And I'm like, gosh, I'm still living in the before. I'm still in the before. This is happening now. And so during staff training, though, I just saw, I know it sounds cheesy because so many people say this, but I feel like for the first time in my life, I saw just like a genuine joy that permeated so many things, and a peace, and people talking about the purpose that they had, and just how the Lord was leading their life, and how they had given God actual reins to their life. It wasn't just, hey, I'm a Christian, now I'm going to do my own thing, but it was, hey, I love God, and because I love God, I'm going to obey what he says, and with this comes so much life and true joy. And so this is like the first time that I saw this, and I just wanted it so bad. And so I think there was a lot of shame in the beginning, but then I'm like, you know what? This is my time. I am accepting Jesus. I'm getting saved, and I am doing this thing. So I made the decision, and that was when that's when I committed my life to Jesus, and that's when everything changed for me.
Wow. How would you describe, because, I think a lot of people, it's like, hey, I grew up Christian. Mm-hmm. I grew up Christian. You said, I grew up a Christian.
Yeah.
But then you talked about how you, I got saved. I really began a relationship with Jesus. What are the differences there? Because I think there's a really important distinction for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Hey, I kind of grew up around this, but the thing is, you don't get grandfathered into Christianity. Every person has to come and have a moment where they accept Jesus for themselves.
Yeah, I think you just said it.
Yeah.
I made the decision for the first time in my life. I made that decision for myself, and the Bible says that we'll know by the fruits that we produce if we really do love the Lord and are saved. And so, that was the first time that I had allowed God to speak into the areas of my life that I was holding back, which was pretty much every area. And so that's the first time that I, actually turned, admitted hey, this is sin that I'm living in, these relationships, the way that these relationships are going, the things that I'm doing, it is sin, and it's leading me away from God, and it's leading me away from people, and it's leading me to pain. And so admitting that was truly something that was taking me away from God, and then, turning from that stuff and trying, it's hard, but trying to pursue what God wants for me.
Yeah. So after you kind of became, you officially became a Christian, you gave everything over to the Lord, mm-hmm. and you had a great summer camp experience.
Yeah.
Going back after, back to school, what was it like? Seeing your friends that you used to do all this stuff with, and how did you bring this new Kyla back to the old Kyla stomping grounds? What was that like?
It's hard. Honestly, it's really challenging. If any of you have gotten saved, or even just started obeying, having more obedience towards the Lord in adulthood, that it's really hard. Because I feel like there was two things. Number one, I didn't want to sound dumb, oh, this is a new thing that I'm doing, I'm coming back and I'm not gonna, do these things anymore. But I also didn't want people to think that I thought I was better than them, that I was oh, I went to this camp and now I'm back and I can't associate with you guys. So, I think there's, everyone has to kind of handle it in their own way. For me, just to get practical in terms of certain things, I just had to cut certain things off, and that wasn't cutting people off for me. I still loved the people that I was around, but it meant not going to certain places, not spending time after certain hours, just not going places, because I knew if I was going to go there, I was going to fall down the slippery slope of, what led me to those decisions. And so I think, it's really hard, because some people are on board and will support you even if they don't follow Christ. And other people, after you get asked again and again, hey, we're going here, let's, and you say, oh, I'm not going to go tonight, but, I'm in on the next thing. Or here, take these shots. And you're like, no, I'm good. Eventually, some people will just stop asking you, and they'll stop inviting you. And that was hard. My friendships changed. But at the same time, I feel like God put people in my life who had similar values, people who loved him, and people who could mentor me. Even in my sorority, I had older girls who were, mentoring me, going through the Bible with me. I mean, really, like, just sweet, sweet things. And so, I mean, it's definitely painful. It's hard. But I think, too, when people see the joy that's in you and the life that comes from it, and they see, oh, this person still has fun. This person can still do things. Like, I tell people all the time, I'm like, Christians do not have to be boring. We are fun, okay? We can still dance and do fun stuff and go places. And
Are you trying to dance? What's going on?
huh?
We can dance.
Well, we can do stuff that's fun,
It seemed
we
like a
can be
funny thing to
cool.
say.
But like we can
Yeah.
do fun things and have the joy of the Lord and not live in sin.
So, you talked about like the joy that you experienced. Like, what was it like whenever you did after you gave your life to Christ, and even going back, like, we talk about how it's difficult. Like, sometimes it's hard to obey, like you said, but there's always blessing in obedience. Like, how would you describe your life after coming to Jesus and experiencing the blessings of obedience in your life?
Yeah, wow, that's a big question. So many things. Honestly, I'm a really anxious person. I mean, even this is like, I hate stuff like this, just practically. I'm glad I get to share with you guys, and I'm glad to be here. But like, I don't like talking in front of people. We're very much opposites in that sense. But I feel like God has given me so much peace. I still deal with like panic attacks and things like that, but the peace that the Lord has given me over the last so many years is like, it truly is peace beyond understanding. Gosh, he's given me so much joy. I feel like the constant love of God, it gives me such a purpose to know that no matter what, even if I have a bad day, if I don't do good at my job, if I, mess up, the Lord loves me the same. And, I mean, obviously he's blessed me with like the most beautiful family that I'm so thankful for. And not everything's been easy too. I think it's important to note, like, you don't get saved and then life's easy, but knowing that God is there through every step of the way has totally changed things for me. Yeah. He's given me so much peace, confidence, and I feel his love all the time.
That's awesome. When we talk a lot about, friends of ours and who have, like we said, fallen away from God and fallen away from church, and or who are just not interested in general. And one of the conversations that we have all the time, because like we have to like make sure that we keep the fire of sharing our story and sharing the gospel up, because we both can get busy and we just kind of like, we're doing our thing. I work at a church. I'm not around a ton of people who don't know Jesus all the time. But like something that we constantly talk about and we pray about. We have a journal with a list of people that we're praying for. But we just are always like, we gotta figure out a way to get better at sharing our story with people and being bold and doing and aligning our hearts with the mission of Jesus, and like being ready to give a defense of the hope that's within us. How have you seen your confidence grow? Because I know you've shared your faith with some of your friends who don't really want anything to do with it. Yeah, you've talked to people. I call Kyla my public justice warrior because she's not afraid to go. She's not like extroverted, but she will go to someone and talk to them. And like if she sees like an injustice happen, so like it's pretty great. But like, how would you describe like your confidence level? Probably ebbs and flows, but like when you first got saved to where you are now with sharing your story and aligning our hearts and minds and actions with what God has wanted us to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always scary, but I think as you see, I think what we talk about this, what we have to remind ourselves is like, it is good news.
Yeah.
It's good news. And so if it's good news, then it's a good thing to share. And so I have to remind myself that, because I'm like, it's not just this thing that I have to do. I am doing it out of obedience, but also because I genuinely love my friends so much. And I want them to have purpose and the joy that I experience. And I want the Lord to change their life and to save them. And so I think like, as I remember that, and the more I do it, the more confident I get. Not because I do a great job. My friends they got some questions, and they are not easy sometimes. They will push back. And so, like, it is scary. Like, a lot of the things, that are in the intro video of, like, being afraid that you're not going to know how to answer questions, or, being denied. I've definitely experienced a lot of that stuff. But I think just, like, stepping into obedience and remembering that it's good news and that God can use it, that God can use your story, even if you feel like your story is not like, the stories look so different, and it doesn't matter what the before was. It doesn't matter if it's this big, intense thing, or if if you feel like you were always a Christian. There is a before, and the most important thing is that Jesus saved all of us. And so it doesn't matter what our before looked like. Without Jesus, there's no salvation. And so for all of us, that it so matters that we share our stories, because every person is going to relate to something different. Yeah. Every person is going to be like, that I've always felt that way, or that's something that I struggled with. And so I think too, making those connection points then gives you more confidence of, hey, I'm really glad I shared, because, someone else has gone through that too.
Yeah. And I think one thing that has been so great for us is like, when we get around other Christians, we like talk to them about the people that we're praying for, and like we talk about, man, we just got, God, can you, like, it's so helpful to see another person come and to pray for you about the people who you really love in this world who don't know Jesus. And when we pray together, we pray through that list of people. There, even like with us coming together, where it doesn't feel like it's just, I'm by myself, you're by yourself. We're like coming together to like ask the Lord to like use us. And we just finished a Bible reading plan in Ephesians for as young adults, and one of the things that Paul says there is he asked the church to pray that I would have boldness. Pray that I would have boldness to be able to do what I need to do and to tell people about Jesus. And tonight we just want to end a little differently today. I want to invite Cole to come up, and we're just going to sing like a chorus of a song. But what we're going to do is Kyla and I are going to be up here on the front, right in front of the stage, and we're just going to open it up for prayer. If you have anybody in your life that you're praying for that would come to know Jesus, and you just need someone to like help you, like you need God to help you, you need to figure out how you can have the boldness to figure out what you need to do to share your faith with people, we're going to come alongside you, and we're going to agree with you. We're going to pray that God would do it. Maybe you need some boldness to like, I don't know how to articulate my faith. I don't understand how to figure out my roadmap to get me to where I am. We're going to pray that God would help give you clarity on how to do this. Maybe for some of you, you're like, man, I'm kind of like Kyla, where like I was at the Christian camp and I was living in before. Maybe you need to like make a commitment tonight that God, I'm going to go your way. I'm going to stop doing things my way. I'm going to give my life to you. I want to be saved. I want to have purpose and meaning and this joy that Kyla was talking about. Really, and so tonight we want to open it up for anybody who wants to come and to receive prayer.